Well, former Tembisa police officer Rosemary Ndlovu has been denied murdering relatives for insurance payouts while testifying in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. It's despite video evidence showing her ordering a hit on her older sister and 5 children. Newzroom Afrika's Linda Mnisi has been following those proceedings in court for us. He joins us live in studio. So, Linda, I suppose no surprises that the accused here is denying any involvement, denying culpability in terms of these murders. But let's first speak about the beginning of the day. Quite a dramatic start, an unusual fashion, really, for an accused, a suspect. Usually, you know, people are draped in blankets and dukes, trying to hide their faces sometimes, or keeping a bit far from the media. Certainly not what was happening with Rosemary Ndlovu today.
Absolutely, Kathy, and as you rightfully mentioned, I mean, we expected that because all eyes would be on her and what she would be saying today, you know, we expected that she would be, you know, serious, you know, chatting and telling the court exactly what had happened. But what we saw, journalists were treated to a spectacle, Kathy. I mean, I had a brief conversation with her, and she was telling me how handsome I am. She says she woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. She had makeup on because she knew that we were coming. She knew that all eyes would be on her. Quite a different, you know, side, you know, that we saw today. If you also look at the kind of allegations that she is facing, the judge even reminding her that you're facing serious charges. So everything that you say today is quite important, and it is important that all procedures must be followed.
So not a suspect who is in any way camera shy, but of course things became quite heated as she was in that witness box and broke down at some point. Tell us about the proceedings themselves.
So the proceedings got off to a good start where she was asked about her involvement, particularly when you look at how she allegedly tried to kill one of her nieces rather, Nomasonto. She was asked about the involvement of the hitmen, where she denied knowing them. She denied knowing, you know, Njabulo Gunene, who is one of the state's witnesses, who told the court that he, in fact, chickened out when she approached him. You know, also speaking about how he basically was the brother of her friend, who they traveled together to Pumlong, where in fact they were supposed to carry out this heinous crime, but it did not happen. So later on then she's asked about this particular video footage that we played yesterday of her seen ordering hits on her sister and 5 of her children. She says, well, indeed, that was me, but what you don't know is the fact that there was a prior conversation that happened when I left the hospital before I entered into that vehicle, where we said we would stage what you were seeing there. So I was coached on what exactly to say, because if you look at all the things that were happening in the car, I was not the one asking the questions. I was being asked questions, and I was told that I would be asked questions, and that's how I was told to respond.
Staged for what reason?
So here she says that that entire trip was to accompany her friend Cebisile, as well as this hitman Njabulo Gunene, to a traditional healer in Bushbuckridge. It was not to go and kill her sister and her 5 children. She says the only reason the driver of that vehicle, who we now know was an undercover police officer, would take them to Bushbuckridge was if they said that they were going for a job, because they also didn't have money to pay for transport. So it would be on those conditions that he would agree to take them to Bushbuckridge, because understanding that they would come back with money.
There are cases that the court will likely point to that have already taken place and where payments, these insurance payments, have already been made. Are we expecting any of these companies to be called at all, Linda?
Well, what we do know is that they may have been called in the state's case when the state was putting its case to the court in terms of what exactly it was alleging against her. So, for example, with the issue of her boyfriend, where she's said to have taken a cover for him, where there was even issues of signature. So experts in that regard were called into court to really kind of try and find out if this was in fact the person that signed off, and the person that showed up at the insurance company, was it the correct person? But we're told that those experts and all those people that were called from these companies denied that the right person was in fact called. So there was a lot of fraud that happened in how she executed these crimes, and that is what the stage is alleging.
All right, Linda Mnisi, we're going to have to leave it there for now, and more from Linda on the story throughout the rest of News at Prime.